Is checking out other women sinful, or is it okay to look at the menu as long as you don't order? As a lot of guys like to put it. Um, well, let's first look at the verse that a lot of people like to use to say that, yeah, it is sinful. And that's where Jesus says, whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Now, you may say, well, doesn't that mean that I have to have lustful thoughts? I mean, if I'm just looking, but I'm not thinking about doing anything with her, that's okay, right? I'm not really lusting, right? Well, let's just say for now that, yeah, you're right. Let's just say that it is okay to look as long as you don't have those thoughts. Well, what did Paul say? He said that everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So that means that, well, maybe you might be free to do something. Maybe it might not actually be bad, but it's not always profitable. It's not always wise to do something. Like, let's say that you have this friend or loved one who is an alcoholic and they have a history of acting violent, getting into trouble, um, maybe going out and sleeping around. I mean, doing something that they shouldn't be doing when they're intoxicated, when they're drinking. Would it be smart for that guy to go to with his buddies to a drinking party where he knows there's going to be a lot of alcohol, where he knows he'll be tempted to get drunk when he has that kind of history? I would say no. That would not be wise to do that. While it may not be a actual sin to drink, it may be a sin for him because of his past. And I mean, another example, look at King David. He was just looking at the menu, watching Bathsheba naked taking a bath. And, well, it led to lusting, it led to lying, it led to adultery, and eventually led to murder. Now, I'm not saying that anyone who checks out a girl, looks her up and down here and there, is going to end up murdering somebody. But what's to say that there's this girl at your job that you like to check out every time she passes by? You know, maybe she wears that low-cut shirt that hugs every curve on her, or a short skirt or something like that, and you like looking at her. Well, maybe one day you try to talk to her a little bit, and you think it's harmless. Eventually you exchange numbers. Maybe you're talking on social media. Maybe one day you start going to lunch together, and maybe one day it ends up being at one of y'all's places. And maybe you get carried away, and then the looking at her ends up being with her clothes off. Then you end up having an affair, or whatever. I mean, all it takes is that little bit of temptation for the enemy. He only needs a little bit of a crack in the doorway to push himself right in, and then you're in a place that you don't know how you got there. So, personally, I believe, yes, checking out another woman is sinful, because not only can it lead to other things, but it also is stealing that attention that should be to your wife, and you're giving it to someone who you have no business giving it to. Your eyes have no business locking on that other woman. That's somebody else's daughter, possibly someone else's mother. It could be somebody else's spouse even. I mean, even if she's single, that doesn't matter, because one day she may not be, and even if she never marries, she is not your spouse. So therefore, you have no business looking at her like that. So ladies, if if your man does enjoy oogling other women, how should you handle it? Should you be like, oh, well, my man's a pig. I mean, he just likes looking at everything that passes by. Or should you be upset about it and be like, oh my gosh, my marriage is now ruined. He thinks she's more beautiful than me. I'm not good enough anymore. Doesn't he love me? Or should you look at it as God made men visual, and I understand that. But I also understand that there are boundaries that he should not be crossing. I will talk to him about it because communication is important. And husbands, you need to listen. Don't act like you're entitled just because God made you that way, that oh, well, I can't control myself and she needs to not be so sensitive. She needs to not go overboard. But no, because something is bothering her, you should listen, just like if she was doing something that bothered you, then she should listen. So communication in every part of marriage is important. But it's also important to know that just because we men are visual, and that is a gift, just like any other gift that God gives us, it can be abused. Just like he he gave us the ability to taste good food. Well, we can abuse that by eating things when we know that we shouldn't. Overeating. Um, Having a little wine here and there, a little alcohol. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it can certainly be abused. Sex can be abused, but it was it was made by God for us to enjoy. But we can abuse it, just like we can abuse the gift of being visual creatures and enjoying the beauty that God made in a woman. So it's a little short video on if I believe that checking out other women is sinful. I believe it is. I mean, just because I mean, it may not be sinful to acknowledge the beauty out there. Um, Looking more than you should, taking a second glance, letting your eyes go up and down. I don't recommend that you do that. So, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.